From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick.
And I am Tina Burke, Mamma Mia's pop culture and social editor.
You really got home there in the last line because at first you were saying it like your name was a question. It's very I am Ron Burgundy.
It's
from
just
the
a lot of
classic
words.
film Anchorman.
So true. That's how I feel every time. I'm like, who am I? What am I? And what do I believe in? I don't know.
And would you believe that's not what we're talking about on the show today? But we can talk about it afterwards if you're pondering that. No, coming up on the show today as we move forward towards the release of Wicked for Good, which is the second half of the Wicked movie, which is coming out in just a few weeks. One big question is swirling, and that is around the relationship status of Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater. We're going to get into that because there's reports of a breakup, there's reports of an engagement. It's going all these different ways. Plus, the frontrunners from the Oscar race have emerged. And this year it's shaping up to be a story of underdogs, of people who haven't been given a chance. But the biggest nominees are also the most famous and beautiful women in the world. So we're getting into that because it's going to be...
Underdogs of a beautiful nature.
Yeah, exactly. The Oscar race this year is shaping up to be absolutely crazy. Mm-hmm. But first... there is something I'm quite excited about.
Oh my God, what?
So, in an unexpected turn of events, something I never thought I'd say, I think next year that my favorite creator of TV will be Kim Kardashian.
Say more things.
Yeah. Not my favorite person on TV. My favorite creator of TV.
Okay.
Because Kim Kardashian is, I feel like a lot of people think with like her show All's Fair coming out next week and her stint on American Horror Story that this acting thing for her is like just a bit of a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
But it's actually her kind of full-blown new career path. And not only is she sort of positioning herself as a leading lady, she's also positioning herself as a creative force behind the scenes, like a Shonda Rhimes or a Ryan Murphy or a Mindy Kaling. That's the kind of way she's going.
Yeah, she is. Which is, like, I don't know. I guess I was one of those people who did not think that this was going to be a thing. But I guess it is.
It is a thing. And also, look, you know, she's a business-savvy woman. So I feel like she'd be faring well behind the camera. So this is all hooked, this particular segment is all hooked on an upcoming TV show called Calabasas. That's the name.
That's so Kim Kardashian to make a whole show just about your own suburb. But carry on, tell the people.
It's not completely about that. So it's called Calabasas and it's executive produced by Kim Kardashian and Emma Roberts.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good. So Emma Roberts has her production company and the two of them met while starring together in American Horror Story Delicate. So they were the two co-leads.
And they got on, right? Like, because the vibe was a bit like, oh, Kim can't act. What's it going to be like? Yeah. But their behind the scenes stuff was very... supportive?
Yeah. I mean, to the point where they've now gone into business together. I feel like that's an extra step up for co-workers.
Yeah. We're not starting a business together just yet.
Well, we'll see what happens after this episode has finished. So they came together to make this TV series, and when they sort of put it out to the world, there was a huge bidding war in April of this year with, of course, my old moneybags Netflix. Coming in and securing it. So can I tell you what the show is about that Kim Kardashian is making? Because I feel like you'll really care.
Yes.
First of all, Kim Kardashian, one of the most famous, polarizing, beautiful women in the whole world, at the end of the day is just like us. She's just an elder millennial who is craving. I mean, sorry, you're so young. It's fine. So am I. At the end of the day, she is just an elder millennial craving the glory days of TV, of teen TV, which is the late 90s and early 2000s. Yeah. So she is endeavoring to make a new TV show that is the next OC or the next Beverly Hills 90210.
That's crazy coming from her. But do we think she's just trying to like curate TV for Northwest?
I mean, I don't think Northwest is watching TV.
No, she's too cool.
The kids don't watch the TV.
That's
They'll
so
be
true.
watching whatever is after like whatever comes after TikTok. This show's for us.
But I love that because with the exception of The Summer I Turned Pretty, which obviously then went into like college years, we haven't had like teen high school shows of that nature in a while. There's been a lot of comedies. Yeah. We've loved Never Have I Ever. That was a good time on Netflix. But I don't know. There's not been an OC. There's not been like a Gossip Girl. I mean, they tried to reboot Gossip Girl.
Yeah,
but
and it just didn't work.
Just nothing as grabby, you know?
But you know what all those teen TV shows had in common? Not just that they were about these crazy lives of these beautiful teens who looked and acted like adults is that they all started with a fish out of water story. So the OC, you have Ryan arriving in Orange County and like kind of being in the crazy rich world. Even Gossip Girl is Dan kind of coming into like the world of the Upper East Siders and that fancy kind of place. Beverly Hills 90210 is the Walsh siblings moving to Beverly Hills and getting caught up in that world. So it's a winning formula. And this new TV show, Calabasas, is going to follow that tried and true storyline. So it's about Via, who is a 16-year-old, and this is from the production notes they put out, sheltered Midwestern Catholic schoolgirl, whose world is turned upside down when her family moves and she's forced to transfer to the fast world of Calabasas High, where nothing is as it appears and everyone is trying to be someone else. It's a place where dreams come true, but not without complications and sometimes unforeseen consequences. Hook it to my veins. I want to watch it so bad.
Huge if true.
And Kim Kardashian is playing the 16-year-old Via. No, she's not.
I fully was like, all right.
Literally, I'll believe anything.
I'll do it. I'm intrigued. Okay, first of all, I have to say, like, the thing of, like, nothing is as it seems, but everything could also be as it seems. And, I love that they're like, that's just classic description where I have no concept of what this show is
but
about.
You kind of,
but I'm also okay with it because it tells me everything I need to know.
But it's also everything you need to know.
But it's everything because it's nothing and everything all at once. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that's the kind of place we're at. Here's the interesting thing is who she's brought in to work on who Kim Kardashian has brought in to work on the project with her. So the original person working on this show for over a year was Marlene King. You know that name,
I know
right?
the name.
Yeah.
What'd they do?
The creator behind Pretty Little Liars.
Oh, that's
and
good
the
teen
spin-off
TV.
shows from, she knows how to make a good TV show. So she worked on it from a year. She's left the project. I'm sure it was just one of those things where she had to move on.
Yeah.
And Kim has brought in Chris Van Dalsen, who was one of the...
That's hit. All right.
Yeah, you know, right?
Yes, I know. Yeah. But tell the people if you want.
Oh, I know. As soon as I saw his name on it, I'm like, well, this is going to be a huge hit.
Yeah.
So he's created a lot of incredible TV, but he's also known for creating a little show called Bridgerton and serving as the executive producer and showrunner on the first 2 seasons of Bridgerton.
Yeah.
And now he has come on to like steer the ship of making Calabasas with Kim Kardashian and Emma Roberts.
This is, I think, the thing that sells me because... I'll watch pretty much any teen drama you put in front of me just to see what the vibe is.
Yeah.
I like the nostalgia of the way they make me. I don't know. It's nice to look back sometimes and be like, oh, the teen dramas, whatever. Bit of fun. I'm intrigued by the Kim and the Emma of it all. Can't wait to see what that's all about and what they're bringing to the table. But season 1 and 2 of Bridgerton were just like top tier television in my household. And for many Bridgerton fans, no shade, no hate to Jess Bromwell, there was a distinct shift between season 2 and season 3 when Chris stepped away as showrunner. Not to say that the show became bad, still really enjoyed season 3, but there was a distinct difference, and I am a big fan of the television that Chris produces and the worlds that you get brought into. So I'm interested in that. Yeah, so we have no run date for that yet. They're still casting, they're still putting it together. Do you think they're going to go like an unknown route, or are they going to have to... I think they'll pick someone who's had a few like small buzzy roles. Yeah. But this will be their kind of big breakthrough role, because whoever they bring in for that lead role of a TV show like this, it's all going to kind of really hinge on their performance and also their chemistry with the rest of the cast. So I'm excited. And yeah, Kim Kardashian just out there making the TV we all want to see. And a lot of people have said I was reading the trade stories announcing this, and they were all like, when Kim Kardashian discovered Bridgerton, because remember how when Bridgerton came out, she became such a fan. She was so cringe. She's so me. Again, she's all of us. She just sits in her living room and posts photos of her TV on her Instagram story, which was what I do as well. Yeah. To show the people. I don't sometimes give away the ending to movies like Spider-Man like she did. But but yeah, from the moment she did that, she was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to find the showrunner of this show that I've just discovered. And I'm going to make TV with him. And that's what's happened. And she's really leveraged those celebrity friendships and connections, right? Because it all stemmed from Ryan Murphy thinks I'm cool and could maybe be making a cameo, and then that's turned into a role, and then that's turned into leading and starring. I want to say All's Fair. Yeah. Great. I was going to say, is it fair play? Yeah. But and I know you're going to talk about this on the pod at some stage, I'm sure, but she's now leading lady material. She's now a big deal. So now that she's leveraging that to go I'm actually behind the scenes. I'm an executive producer. I guess go for it, because if you don't want to be a lawyer anymore, why not? Yeah, exactly.
So now we move on to one of my favorite subjects to discuss. And I talk about this stuff so much to the point that I have been asked to leave dinner parties and family gatherings and sometimes even meetings at work when people are like, we get it, Laura. Stop talking about it. And that is who is going to win the Oscars at the upcoming ceremony.
It's important to share opinions about that based on like pretty much nothing in my experience.
Well, I just feel like the lead up, I feel the same way about the Oscars as people do about Christmas. And I don't mean that I like them the same amount that people like Christmas, although potentially that's true. I also think that the build-up is the fun part.
Yeah, bit of fun.
Yeah, the build-up, the pre-events, the stories that come out of it. You know how people they love putting up their Christmas tree and going to events more than they like the actual day?
Yeah.
That's me with the Oscars.
Yeah, okay.
And we're in that time of the year when the Oscar campaigns are starting to form, movies are starting to come to the front, actors especially are like very carefully starting to build their platforms, but because like the nominations and all that hasn't happened yet, it's all very up in the air. Like this is go time behind the scenes.
Can I say something controversial?
Absolutely.
And like potentially, I don't know.
Oh, please do and say it directly into the camera.
about careers.
Yeah.
Issuous isn't a word. You should fire me for that alone. I actually don't care who wins Oscars.
Really?
I care.
You don't care who wins the
No
Oscars?
one I want ever wins. So I
well,
think
then you do care.
I think
you just don't.
I have feelings and I love the Oscars, but I think like you're really good at like this person might win for this thing's gonna win for this is the big talking point, and I'm like, I hope they all have a good time.
Yeah, I'm less worried about that. I just find the story, because the thing is, art is so subjective. I don't believe you can actually pick who is the best performer.
You can't, but you can.
Well, no, but it's not even that, because Oscars aren't won on performances. Like,
No,
we
very
know
true.
that. Every so often a performance comes through. It might just be that the others aren't as sort of as show-stopping as one performance that will come through.
Yeah.
Or just be so original and so unexpected that you're like, oh, that's the performance that should win. But Oscars notoriously are won on the campaign, the backstory of the actor and the movie. The performances still have to be good, but if you've got 5 great performances, you can't separate them by who's the best, because that's subjective.
Yeah.
And so it all comes down to, well, it comes down to money. It comes down to who the studios are going to push forward, but it also comes down to who can weave a good story.
So true.
And this year, what I've started noticing that's very interesting is as the Oscar campaigns all start to float to the surface of Hollywood, one kind of major trend is coming through, and that this year is going to be very much about comeback stories and also people who are seen as underdogs, who have been seen as shunned by the industry. But the names who are in that pool are so unexpected, because they're not long-suffering character actors who have always been great but have never been seen as superstars. They're not people who have like been, you know, background actors and are suddenly getting a lead role. They're not people who are doing their first movie role. They're some of the most famous names in the world who have been famous for decades, that are now being seen as like the Oscar kind of like contenders who are coming from a place of like having a comeback tour.
Which is so
interesting. Is crazy.
Yeah, because we always talk about how like for women to win an Oscar, like they've got to be the young 21-year-old ingenue, or like they've got to be like fresh to it has to be their first big hit and she's won an Oscar and look at her story. So it's interesting that you've picked out that there's some women this time around in particular who are giving us Cinderella story, Underdog.
Yeah, and what the Oscars are really good at doing is they're really good at doing it It's Time Oscar, where someone who has just been very good for many, many years.
Yeah, poor Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, he's probably going to win again this year for one battle after another, which is kind of like, I'm like, guys, should we not have waited till he was actually in the movie? I actually think controversial. I think he should have won for Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
I don't think it should have been the Bear movie.
The Bear movie.
I was so not wowed. And that's why I shouldn't be judging the Oscars.
Yeah. But even someone like his bestie, Kate Winslet, like, was the Rita her best role ever? No. Was it time for her to win an Oscar?
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock, The Blind Side, was that she should have won for Gravity.
So true.
But it was just time for her to have an Oscar, and people, which is kind of nice. It's people saying, hey, you've been working really hard and you've made a lot of good stuff, and there's a lot of different reasons why you haven't won. And so this year we're just going to slot you in to make sure that you definitely win. So that's, and the same with Jamie Lee Curtis. Love Jamie Lee Curtis, famously.
Yes, big fan.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Of this podcast.
You like
she
her
is,
a lot. And she also likes us.
She likes us because she was on the podcast and she shared our video. Anyway.
She did.
And I almost think that she would, when she won her Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once, it was for her career, was the feeling that I had.
Yeah, because even in that movie, she wasn't the best supporting actress.
Yeah, she was good. But was she the best out of that whole crop of people?
No, not in my opinion.
I don't know.
But just, career, like you said.
But they didn't want to give it to her for like all her amazing work in like horror films or like other like, beloved like comedies and things like that. Like it's not like she wasn't worthy of an Oscar. It's just that they weren't sure when her name would come up again. And so they wanted to give her one to sort of say like, we see everything that you've done in your career.
Yeah. I like that because often, I don't know, like in primary school when like people win awards and you're like, I just don't think it was deserved, but fine. That's kind of how the Oscars feel sometimes.
Well, everyone gets one.
It would be nice if someone could win one who just like kind of deserves it. Maybe not in this instance, but you go, you know what, she didn't win the race, but she's really been running for a while.
I just feel like we need to figure it out of how to give like lifetime achievement awards at the Oscars, but have it be an Oscar.
Yeah,
and maybe have one, because I guess we're still
like outside of like Cecil. I want to say Cecil B. DeMille.
No, because that you still have to go through a lot of different hoops. That you're not going to get that for just being in 20 years of the Halloween franchise. Even though I do think that you're not going to be that for being like the golden girl of Hollywood comedies. Do you know what I mean? Like just there needs to be something
else.
Yeah, not a popular vote, because the Oscars did try that and they had to scrap that category because it was wildly problematic.
They were like, we're not actually the Logies. We need to have a different setup.
So some of the campaigns that we're seeing surface this year. This is one that I talked about the other day, and this is what kind of got my head thinking that maybe I'm also part of the problem, because Kiss of the Spider-Woman, which is out in Australian cinemas this week. I haven't seen it because no one invited me to a preview screening.
Yeah. What was that about, guys?
And so
we were all about this Jennifer Lopez story weeks ago.
I was ready to start the Oscar campaign for her. And have I seen
you're
this
online
movie?
Underground in Reddit forums starting rumours.
I guess I'll just go buy my own ticket.
They're like, there's Oscars buzz for Jennifer Lopez, and it started with Laura
Brunnick. No, it started at the Sundance Film Festival.
It did.
So that's where this movie premiered, and now a lot of the trade publications have reported that this is the biggest Oscar campaign they've seen for a movie go into full swing. And there's a few moving parts. So obviously Jennifer Lopez is being really positioned as an overlooked underdog. That is the platform that she is unofficially running on. So she's not saying that. She is saying, I don't think about Oscars. I was disappointed that one time I got passed over for Hustlers, but I've let it go now. You can't think about Oscars. It's all about the work. That's her party line, because she can't come out and say what her team is saying behind the scenes, which is this woman has been overlooked. She has been left out, shut out in the cold, and this is her year. Because obviously she was passed over for Hustlers, but before that she was passed over for Selena, her breakout role in 1997.
That's the one that shocks me. Because I think I was simply a child running around when that movie came
and
out.
even you were like, she should have won an Oscar.
I was like, where was the Oscar for Jennifer Lopez?
And then people thought also Out of Sight, another big breakout role.
Yeah, like,
that would have been at least not to win the Oscar, but it was surprising that she didn't get.
She didn't get a nomination. Surprises me.
All the woman wants is a nomination. Can I be clear? She doesn't even want to win.
Literally all she wants. Yeah.
Even last year's Unstoppable. I know that didn't get Oscar buzz, but I think when they were making it, that's where they thought it was going. So this year it's come out that Jennifer Lopez is, along with the whole movie, is very much chasing this Oscar buzz. She's putting herself into the supporting actress category, which is a very clever move on her behalf.
Interesting.
Because it's two actors and her. And so it's one of those ones where she's kind of a lead, because she's definitely the lead actress.
Yeah.
But putting herself into the supporting character category is going to make her stand out more, which is a trick a lot of actresses do when they're technically the lead. So when they go into supporting, they look even more
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Because they've got, they're a bigger part, they've got more screen time. They're not competing against other actresses. Like very famously, if there's two actresses in the one movie and they go into the same category, they split the vote and cancel each other.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes her the clear front runner.
Yeah, that's so interesting because you see it, I mean, like you've said, you see it with film, but you see it a lot with those big ensemble casts on TV shows where they have like the same amount of screen time and then this one's a supporting and this one's a main and it's like you've just done it to win. But,
exactly.
But everyone does it, so I kind of like that she's like playing the game a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So she is like the standout showpiece female performance in that movie, which is going to make her stand out more to voters. And also it's the Oscars, like as much as they've tried to bring diversity in, it's still a very old school kind of guild of people voting. It's very old school people. And so this is obviously based off a really famous Broadway play. It's based off a famous movie. They've redone it, but they've also, the Oscars very historically love properties like that have been reinvented. Yeah. And sometimes they also really love a musical if it's done the right way.
Yeah, I mean, they bloody loved Amelia Perez, and we could argue that was not done the right way.
Well, apparently that's why she's putting herself into also the musical comedy sections.
Yeah.
So that can springboard her in the same way Amelia Perez did into those nominations, which brings us to the next actress who is also being positioned as an underdog, who is also putting herself into all the musical comedy categories, even though this movie apparently is not a comedy, but she's hoping that will springboard her to the Oscars. And this is someone who is being also positioned as someone in desperate need of a career comeback. And this underdog is called Kate Hudson.
Academy Award winner Kate Hudson.
Academy Award nominee.
Whatever.
Golden Girl Hollywood winner. Box office superstar Kate Hudson. Will someone give the kid a break?
Oh, will someone give her a chance, please? She's only starring on a Netflix show that's been renewed for a second season.
That is what people are saying, that she's had a career for. Can I say, I thought when I started hearing people talking about Kate Hudson as an underdog in need of a career comeback, I was like, I'm sorry, do I have a head injury? What is happening here that I'm misreading the room? But then Variety posted this article, why Kate Hudson could be the Oscar comeback story of the year. And I was like, okay, I'm not imagining this.
I don't like I like to have a giggle, and I look at them in a way, yes, and we can get to it, Kate and J-Lo, of like underdogs in a sense in Hollywood in how they're viewed. But I don't like this thing where we're just like acting as though women of a certain age in Hollywood are underdogs in need of a comeback purely because like it's like they're not the young hot thing anymore. Kate Hudson has been leading projects pretty steadily.
Well, if you kind of read between the lines, I understand what they're saying, because it has been 25 years since her first and only Oscar nomination for Penny Lane and Almost Famous.
Yeah.
And that was also her first big breakout role. So it's like the daughter of this like famous Hollywood superstar all of a sudden breaks onto the scene. Everyone's obsessed with her. She stars in one of the most iconic movies of all time, and she is the breakout star of that. Like, she is the best part of that movie by far.
Yeah.
Everyone's obsessed with her. She gets an Oscar nomination. She doesn't win, but that's very par for the course for women sort of coming up through the ranks. That's why Mikey Madison was a surprise this year, because normally they'd make her wait another 15 years. And then everyone's like, Kate Hudson is going to be a multi-Oscar winner. She's going to be like the star of all these incredible indie movies and they thought that she was going to be like, she was going to go that way and be like a serious industry actress.
Yeah.
And then she went the other way and she became this rom-com comedy box office magnet leading lady.
Yeah. And I understand that because like, I get it. She's not the actress that people thought that she would be. Same as J-Lo, right? Like Selena was like, this is a star.
Yeah.
And then she does like Made in Manhattan.
Proper actress. Yeah.
And they're like, that's not what a real actress would do. And I get it because it's true. Yes, these are like they've diverged from that sort of prestigious realm. But I still am just like, they're a star to me. So I like it. But I do understand that in an Oscars sense, they're an underdog.
It's
a bit of a comeback.
Not many actresses get to do both. But I almost think like, is it better in a way to go and be the Hollywood leading lady?
Yes.
There are so many. I think a few years ago I would have said, no, I'd want to be the Oscar winning actress. I want to be the one whose name is on like the iconic lists, and I'd want the industry to think I was great. But now I think, would I rather be the star of everyone's favorite movies? Like, you see Kate Hudson and you're just like,
love that girl.
You have been part of the best moments of my life.
Andy Anderson, I love you.
I've started the movie so many times and been like, I love you. And and it's so funny because like, it's almost like Emma Stone, as an example, went the other way, because when Emma Stone came onto the scene, it felt like she was going to be
gearing up for that world.
Yeah, with like Easy A and all those kind of, and you know, all those kind of comedies. It felt like she was going to be the big screen box office hit comedy queen. And then she completely veered the other way and has now gone into doing only these kind of very small, low budget, dramatic roles. And she makes movies, to be fair, that like we see them. Yeah. But I don't think most people see a lot of these movies she's been in lately, but she's won 2 Oscars.
Exactly. And it's the same as J-Lo, right? Like Jennifer Lawrence and Emma Stone, 2 besties who did the same sort of thing, came up in these really like high profile roles, like blockbuster situations. Obviously with J-Lo there was Winter's Bone, and that was more indie and Oscar worthy. But then they very quickly were like, no, we're serious actors.
Yeah.
And obviously that has worked really well for them. Everyone still loves them. Like every red carpet they do or interview, their charm and their personality comes through. But people are crying out for those women to be in a blockbuster.
I know. It's because
everyone
they both
wants
did
it so bad, but we're like, we respect you anyway, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's like once you do your franchise and like they tick that off the list and they now can just make their indie movies.
Yeah.
So this movie that Kate Hudson is apparently going to be nominated for an Oscar is called Song Sung Blue, and it's with Hugh Jackman. And so, you know, it's got the whole
the trailer looks bad as hell.
Yeah, the trailer looks...
I'd love it, but it looked bad as hell.
Yeah,
no, the comments were mean.
No, but the report, again, I haven't seen it.
But the report's great.
The reviews of her performance are like, this is one of the greatest things we've ever seen. It transcends movie making. It transcends storytelling. I'm not even paraphrasing. That is...
No, literally, yeah.
That is what they're saying. It's so crazy.
Which
and apparently
exciting.
She is positioning herself, again, a little bit like Jennifer Lopez is in the initial for like Golden Globes and things, which can be a springboard to Oscars in the comedy musical section, which apparently is going to create a hugely tight race between her and Cynthia Erivo, because she'll probably go out for Best Actress and chase Infinity for one battle after another. So it's going to be between the three of them. And then the other, just to finish up, the other little underdog name that's been thrown into the mix and is under the banner of Won't Someone Give This Girl a Chance is a little actress by the name of Julia Roberts.
Please, won't someone think of Julia?
Well, it's been more than 20 years since she won her Oscar for Erin Brockovich, and everyone is calling her performance in After the Hunt her best performance since Erin Brockovich, which is a long time between drinks when you're one of the most celebrated actresses in Hollywood.
I haven't gotten to see After the Hunt yet. I'm really desperate to see it. I was away when there were screenings, but it looked like she looks like just scary and terrifying and amazing in the trailer alone. So I'm believing all the hype. I'm believing all the reviews that this is a standout performance for her.
Well, apparently it's going to come down to her and Jennifer Lopez.
That's a crazy duo. I love that.
And even though obviously Julia Roberts has already won an Oscar, so she doesn't have that complete underdog story that Jennifer... The fact that we're using these words about any of these women is crazy. But this is how crazy the Oscars are. They make successful, famous people look like the kind of most struggling people in society.
Like Demi Moore last year, right? Like that was the whole thing. It's a comeback for Demi Moore. Yeah. And she positioned it that way. It was all throughout the Substance press run, but like, no, she's just a really successful person still being successful, but I get where it comes from. Also, I understand.
That was the story she was telling me. That whenever she won, she'd get up on stage and be like, everyone overlooked me. No one believed in me. I've never been given a chance. I was told I was a popcorn actress and now I'm a real actress.
Yes,
and I feel like that carried her all the way through to nearly winning the Oscar of having that story. And so now Julia Roberts' story with After the Hunt is that after she won that Oscar, she was sort of meant to go from being a comedic leading lady to a dramatic leading lady, and people thought she would have won another Oscar by now. And so this is kind of seen as her career comeback. Yeah. Even though I'm sure she wouldn't see it that way. But
yeah. It's so interesting because that popcorn actress thing really sold me on like it's obvious all the time, but the double standard for women in Hollywood, because you've got Matthew McConaughey starring in bloody Fool's Gold and then winning Oscars and then going back to silly movies and then doing great things again. Like men are allowed to have these varied careers of like the highbrow and the lowbrow, but when the women do it or like because Julia Roberts has done many highbrow things in this time period that maybe she wasn't nominated for, but they were very like artistic things. Like it still is seen as a comeback story because it's like, well, you didn't win. So therefore, like it wasn't a success. But the men are allowed to kind of bounce around the genres and it's fine.
Exactly.
So I support all of these comeback stories, these underdog women who've, you know, the poor gals. Won't someone think of Julia Roberts, as you said?
Well, speaking of movies that'll be dominating the Oscars this year, Wicked for Good is going to be on our screens very, very soon. And even though it was nominated last year, because the original Broadway production was split into two movies, which I, as the world's biggest Wicked fan, was personally against when I heard it. But when I sat through the 2.5 hours of that first movie sobbing uncontrollably, I was like, this was the right call.
It was. And also, like, this year's gone so fast anyway. I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened. So, like, Wicked Part 2, here we are. I'm fine. Like I didn't feel it, you know, that was the big worry. Like what if you get bored between the two films? Like, no, I'm good. Well, I'm excited. We did not.
So as we're sort of moving into like the launch period and where like the cast is about to start doing, you know, all the big premieres and start doing press again, they've all started posting different things to their social accounts for the build up. One question has risen up, and I know that I'm absolute trash for talking about this, but you know, light and shade on this podcast. The question is the very infamous and polarizing love story that came from filming of Wicked, is that relationship over? And that is, of course, between Ariana Grande, who played Galinda, and Ethan Slater, who played Bok.
It's an important question. Do you want to tell the listeners what you felt in your heart of hearts when you saw the two of them at the premiere in Sydney?
No, it wasn't at the premiere. This is embarrassing. So when this story came out, let me just explain what led to this, because it's not great. So they both cast in the movie. That's all fun and good and a fun time. Ariana Grande at the time is married to normie Dalton Gomez.
Yes.
And they had that very, very chic wedding. Remember that?
Very chic, yes. With unexpected too, because they had started dating in COVID. So then it was like, here's our wedding, chic.
Yeah, because they'd been together for a few years, but out of the public eye.
Yeah.
So people were like, oh my God. And they had it at their home. And she had the beautiful little like shoulder length poofy veil.
It was really nice.
It was, and just the flowers hanging from the roof. It was so chic. And
she was wearing the biggest platform heel, and she was still shorter than him. That's a dream.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'd love to be that tiny.
I wish I was that small.
Well, that's the takeaway from this segment.
Yeah, that is.
And then also cast in the movie was Broadway star Ethan Slater.
Also known as SpongeBob.
Yes, because he played SpongeBob in the Broadway production of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Exactly.
Which I'm sad that I missed, but I've heard he's great in it.
Heard good things.
But people really loved him because they're like, it's great to have a proper Broadway star in the movie. He had gotten a lot of rave reviews for his performances prior. Yeah. And people also thought it was really sweet that he was married to his high school sweetheart, Lily J, and they had just welcomed a baby who I think was a toddler at the time. They were going to film. There was heaps of photos of the cast going out to dinner. It was very lovely.
Yes.
Until it came out that Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez were divorcing, and Ethan Slater and Lily J were also divorcing. And there were all those rumors around they were together, but at first no one really believed it. It seemed like too crazy, right?
Yeah, it was crazy and I remember vividly because Ariana went to Wimbledon with Jonathan Bailey and she wasn't wearing her ring. And everyone went, wait, what? And people started reporting that she was dating Jonathan Bailey, and it was like, guys, I don't think that's happening.
I'm sure she'd be in love with him. I don't think he's in love with her.
I don't think he's in love with her.
But we'd all love to dream. We'd all love to dream dating
that
Jonathan
we could be
Bailey.
with Jonathan. But it was like, I think they're broken up. And then very shortly after it was, I think she's dating that redhead guy from Wicked who just divorced his wife too.
And then it came out that she was indeed dating SpongeBob Bok.
Yes.
And there was a lot of kind of anger around that from people, which I understand.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of kind of questions around timelines of like had they gotten together while filming was happening. They both said their relationships were over long before it happened.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of questions around that. Ariana, of course, being the woman, got very unfairly like the brunt of the public outcry.
And I think because of some things that happened in her relationships when she was younger, particularly with like Big Sean, which was written about by Naya Rivera in her book, like she had previously had situations where she had ended up with someone who was already in a relationship with someone else. She'd had some timelines that people thought were conflicting when she was younger. And so she was painted with this brush as like a homewrecker.
Yeah.
And then that was very, very intensely applied here.
Exactly. And it didn't help when Lily J, Ethan Slater's ex-wife, started also sharing her side of the story to some extent.
Yeah.
So she did an interview with Page Six where she said that Ariana Grande was not a girl's girl and said that her family had been collateral damage by her.
That was nuts. Also very fair. If I'm Lily J in this situation, I'm probably feeling the exact same way. I did think it was wild to put the onus on her and not her own husband in that quote, but I get she was mad and that's her personal life.
Yeah.
But to be like, Ari's not a girl's girl and my family's collateral damage, I think your husband did that.
I know, but if I was also being asked about it, I'd be like, yeah, she's not a girl's girl, which is the worst thing you can say about someone.
Awful for her, my God, because then it all played out on a really public stage.
Oh, exactly. And that's something, remember how she released that personal essay?
Yeah.
Because she's a clinical psychologist in mental health and child development, and she wrote this huge essay reflecting on how her divorce from Ethan Slater had impacted her both personally and professionally. And it was meant to be more of like a mental health essay, but obviously because it was written about famous people who she didn't go into details about them, but she did say that it was really difficult to see the end of her marriage play out as part of the Wicked press tour.
Yeah.
And in the essay, she said, no one gets married thinking they'll get divorced in the same way we don't board a plane expecting a crash, but I never thought I would get divorced. And then she went on to say that, especially not just after giving birth to my first child, and especially not in the shadow of my husband's new relationship with a celebrity. And Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater have never gone into detail on that, but in an interview with Vanity Fair, Ariana did say that some of the negativity around her was being spread by tabloids. So she said it's not true. And she's like, the most disappointing part of having her new relationship be part of this movie was to see so many people believe the worst version of it.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a tough ride for her. And she also really came out singing in defense of Ethan in this profile and said there couldn't be a less accurate depiction of a human being than the one the tabloids have spread about him, saying that she won't go into certain detail about what has happened, but saying that everything we've been told is a lie, basically.
Which is so interesting because she also released her album Eternal Sunshine in 2024 and then the deluxe version this year, which obviously has so many lyrics about Dalton and then so many lyrics about Ethan. And one of the lines in the song Hampstead, which is pretty much about like the breakdown of her marriage in the public eye because she was living in Hampstead when they filmed Wicked, she has this line that's like, I threw away my reputation but saved us more heartache. I know it seems fucked up and you're right, but frankly, you're still wrong about everything. And people think that's sort of a song dedicated in a way to the fans to be like, you are wrong and you're telling me who I am as a person, but I know when I was there.
Yeah.
And throughout the lyrics of all the songs, it kind of pieces together that she either left the relationship or he left her, but that their relationship was breaking down for some time and that it was not, there was no cheating or affair, according to her version.
Yeah, it's so interesting too, the timing of that, because I feel like she would have been seen, you know, unfairly as a homewrecker, and he would have been seen as this dirtbag who left his wife if it wasn't for the Wicked press tour, because that could have gone very badly for them, but it actually made people forget about all this sort of drama that had happened to an extent and just start fangirling over them as a couple. Because even like obviously we had the first Wicked premiere here in Sydney and they didn't walk the red carpet together and they weren't speaking about each other, but they did, as they left the stage, they ran off together and they held hands. And I was like, oh, it's a bit cute. Two tiny little people running off stage. But also everyone was like, how could she leave her husband for him? He's ugly.
So mean.
It's so mean. Actually, there's so much wrong with this. I was just like, yeah. Everyone's like,
it's really hard because at the center of it, there is a woman who had a baby who's been left by her husband and we feel for that woman. But it's layered.
Yeah, it's layered, and at the same time, we're just like, who would date that ugly man? I was like, everything about this conversation is the worst.
Bad.
Anyway, I went to interview him the next day and I sat in a room across from that man. Yeah. And I just say, charming as hell. I get it.
You got it.
I get it. I was like, I came back to the office and everyone's like,
so wild.
What was Ethan Slater like to interview? And I was like, I get why you leave your husband for him. He can sing. He's charismatic. He was lovely and pleasant. He was self-deprecating, but not in a weird way. And that's only after like a 10-minute interaction.
Yeah. You have to think they've been on set. They're filming. They're becoming friends. Is it bad and inappropriate that they've clearly developed some, they probably developed some feelings while still in relationships? Yeah, that sucks for the other people. It happens, unfortunately. Well, I don't know.
Here's the thing that's kind of got people talking now. So their whole meeting and getting together actually happened many years ago.
This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, because they filmed Wicked a few years ago and also then they had to sort of slice the movie in half. So if that's to be told, they've been together for like well over 3 years now.
Yeah.
And there's a few different rumors that are popping up now as the next Wicked movie is about to come out. The first one is that they had a showmance on set and then that the story around them was so intense and it would be more focused on their breakup if people knew they were broken up. So they pretended to stay together for the first press tour.
Interesting.
That's the first rumor. The second rumor that's come out, and a lot of this has come from the MTV VMAs. You know how Ariana won Video of the Year and she had all her family and friends there.
That was beautiful.
But no Ethan Slater.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
If they're still together, I just don't think they'd be doing that stuff anyway. Yeah. I think given the scrutiny and the fact they have a whole other film coming out, I know that throughout part one, it increasingly became like they'd hold hands or she'd make sure that, you know, she included him in a picture or like whatever it may be. There were slight things that showed the relationship, that they weren't hiding it. But I also think if they're still together, they would still feel like it's too soon publicly to have a big moment at an awards show.
Yeah.
But also, like, I get it, right? It's weird that he's not there in the behind-the-scenes pictures. It's weird that he's not at the after party. Like, it's like, where's Ethan?
Well, that's the thing. So people thought when he didn't go to that event and celebrate her, that was a sign they've broken up. They've always been careful not to really be out and about and not get papped just because of the scrutiny around their relationship. But there's been a lot of instances where they've been pictured solo now for like very long periods of time, which people think they have broken up. They always share work things about each other on socials, but that's also kind of be to a cover. So now the two stories that are coming out are there's one camp of people that's getting much louder that think they have broken up, but they're keeping it under wraps until this movie is out so that breakup doesn't overshadow the press tour and also the Oscar campaign that's around the movie. Or the other school of thought, which is wildly in a different direction, is that they've actually been very much together for nearly 4 years now and they are going to get married. Two wildly different ways.
Two very different things. I think the telling thing maybe for me is like she's wiped her socials of some of his presence.
Interesting.
So there's been some posts that have been removed featuring him and like I guess I would see that as a sign that you've split.
That is usually what basically celebs do. They wipe their profiles once they split with someone.
I don't know. I guess if they're engaged, oh God, I sound really flippant and I'm aware about
No, it's fine.
I'm so
I mean, the thing is we have no
that.
real information about this. Like, and I think that's why people are digging so much at the moment.
Yeah.
They're digging to see, like the other day people were timing how long it took Ariana Grande to like something that Ethan had posted and she liked it within the first 20 minutes. Ooh. And they were like, oh, that means they're together. And someone else was like, no, it means that she's like was watching his Instagram and she's liking it to throw people off. So that's how intense the fans are getting, which I think is making them even more nervous.
They're being careful. I think. And and like I said, I know I sound a bit flippant, but like I kind of like if they're happy and whatever and in love, I know that lots of horrible things had to happen for them to get there, but like I guess like good for you guys, get engaged. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I'll be interested to know either way. Like I think it's normal human curiosity just to know.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the day, I'm just like so excited for Wicked for Good and I'm sure they'll just make it through the press rounds. Yeah. And then I think we won't have an answer until after the dust settles with the Academy Award nominations. And after that, their stakes in Wicked and that whole franchise will be done. And I think that's when we'll see either way. We won't get an answer till then.
Yeah, but I do think we'll be able to dissect enough from the press tour, right? Because so many of those moments were just in things that fans caught last time rather than like intentionally being in each other's like spaces. So if there's no pictures coming out of them secretly holding hands, there's no pictures of them like sneaking away from a party together, it's pretty telling. But you're right, we won't know.
Yeah, a bit of detective work is in store.